whoever agave, like I mentioned before. Take anywhere from 5 to 8 years to mature. But then basically the next step in the process is after the agaves are at the right Brix level of the sugar content, that's where they'll harvest the agaves. The next step that they go to is what's called the cooking method or the cooking process. There's 3 main ways to cook the agave. You can use a stone brick oven, you can use what's called an autoclave, and then you can use a pressure cooker. And I'm obviously from Texas, so the easiest way for me to explain the difference of those 3 cooking methods is to smoking brisket. So I always tell people, would you rather have a brisket that's been smoking in the oven or smoking in your smoker, all day long? The autoclave is very similar to a pressure cooker that you put on your countertop, so it kind of speeds up the process, it's pretty efficient. And then the diffuser is kind of like a microwave, so it cuts down that time in half. So our ovens take usually around 50 hours to cook, and then they'll rest it in there for another 24 hours almost. The autoclave can cut that time frame in half, and then the diffuser can almost do it in about 6 to 7 hours. So it's a very quick process. So to me, like the microwave. So that's the way I kind of explain the cooking process. So we use all oven cooked, which is going to give you the best flavor of those agaves. After you cook those agaves, the next step is what's called the crushing method. So they take those agaves, we use what's called a roller mill. There's a lot of other brands that might use what's called a tahona. That's a very traditional way to crush the agaves. So you're basically squishing all the juice out of those agaves, and that's what goes to the next step, which is fermentation. So after fermentation, that's where they're kind of separating a lot of the good sugars from the bad sugars, and then from there, it goes off to distillation. Tequila is typically distilled twice, and what comes out of distillation is what's called your Blanco tequila. So Blanco, Silver, Plata, to me all kind of means the same thing. It's just the white tequila or the clear tequila that comes out of distillation. So from there, that's what goes to aging. So you have your Blanco, that's your base of that brand or your flavor profile of that brand. From there, it goes to aging. Reposado in Spanish means rested. So what they do, I'm sure everyone's seen those big whiskey barrels. They fill up that barrel with the Blanco tequila and they rest it over time. So a reposado is anything that's been in that barrel for 3 months to a year. And añejo is anything that's been in the barrel for 12 months and longer. And then you have your extra añejo, which has been in the barrel for 3 years and longer. So it's all the same product, color and flavor just comes from whatever barrel that it's been rested in for that period of time. So a lot of brands, now you're gonna see the uniqueness of Rey del Mundo. Most brands will use 1 barrel. For Rey del Mundo, we actually use 2 barrels. So that's where brands can get a little bit of creative, do some barrel blending, which is what we do with Rey. So I'm excited for you guys to try that. You can really see the difference when you use 2 barrels versus 1. So I saw a lot of people with the tequila as well. Just throwing them back. On the Rey del Mundo, I'll ask you to wait to sip them until we go over it. So I'm going to show you a little bit of different method on how to sip tequila. So sometimes throwing back a big shot or a big amount of tequila, for a lot of people who are not used to it, tequila can be kind of strong. So there's different methods that you can use to sip tequila where you can really enjoy a lot more of the flavor profiles that process has created by going through it. So, but this reposado that you guys tried, if you remember the Blanco you just had, it was a lot of agave, fruity notes, citrus notes, nice pepper. Now you'll get the barrel influence from this reposado. So this one's 3 months in American oak. So you'll get those barrel notes that pull through, and it'll kind of round out that pepper on the back end. So I heard a lot of people say it's a little easier on the back end, and that's because of that barrel will kind of round out some of those pepper notes. So great for making, again, a lot of your traditional cocktails like your palomas, Mexican martinis, Cadillac margaritas. That repo just adds another level of flavor profile to whatever cocktail that you're drinking. So. Yes, sir. How can you get used to it? I'm a big Blanco guy myself, so Blanco is the true flavor of any brand. So to me, that's the spirit that I love the most. But to me, tequila is all about the mood that you're in. So if you're sitting smoking cigars, repos and añejos go really well with that. Depending on certain dishes that you're making with food, repos can pair very nicely with that. Tequila's kind of be meant to have just like how you guys enjoy your cigars. It's meant to be an experience and pair it with different things that will advance some of those flavor palettes or flavors that you're tasting. So I would just suggest maybe trying it with different things to see how you like to enjoy the reposado. Yep.
As a barbecue guy,
Yeah.
I feel like I can easily tell the difference if something is cooked in the oven
Yeah,
versus on a smoker.
sure.
If you're a tequila guy and something is cooked, the agave is cooked one way versus, what I would probably imagine is the proper way.
Sure.
It's pretty easy to tell.
It's a little bit harder these days. The technology has come a long way with tequila. So especially with the autoclave, there's two really main ways you can do it: low pressure and high pressure. The low pressure autoclave these days can taste very similar to an oven. So in the past, we actually used to do a 50-50 blend of half oven cooked, half autoclave for the efficiency. So we got the flavor of the oven with the efficiency of the autoclave and kind of put them together. Now, the word that I would use is just more traditional. Because back in the day, they didn't have autoclave, they didn't have diffusers. So the oven method is, I would say, much more traditional. So it just takes a little bit longer time. So a lot of brands sometimes, depending on how big they are, how much tequila they need to produce, that's where they're going to go into the autoclave and diffuser just to do things a lot quicker than doing them on the brick ovens.
But you can get it pretty close.
Yeah, a lot of brands. I would say there's so many great brands that use an autoclave. We have autoclaves at our distillery. I think it just depends on how low and slow that you cook them. So low pressure autoclave can be just as good as a brick oven. Okay, absolutely. So it's kind of hard to tell. There are so many things that go into tequila that you can tweak that all brands can use to adjust the flavor profile. So how old is your agave? What Brix level you're at? The water that you use, spring water, rainwater, deep well water.
What kind of dirt it's grown in.
The dirt, the soil, the region that you're in has an impact. A lot of you saw last time we had a picture that I have on my phone I could show you. Where we are known for our deep red soil, which allows a lot more iron and oxide to get into the agave plants. We get a lot of higher sugar content levels. So down in the lowlands, you get a lot more earthy minerality notes. So the area where the agave is grown plays a huge factor. The equipment that you use, we use copper pots, stainless pots, wooden vats for fermentation. Brands can use all types of yeast: champagne yeast, natural yeast, bread yeast, a mixture of yeast. A lot of brands are coming out with their own proprietary yeast. So all those things people can change and adjust the flavor profile. And then also with the barrels that they can use virgin barrels, which means that there's never been anything in the barrels before. They can use used barrels, which means that there was some type of bourbon or whiskey or cognac or wine in there before. And then they can also char or toast the barrels, which is what we do, which is, you can have a level 1, 2, 3, or even higher char that brings a lot more of those flavors to the surface.
So for bourbon, obviously, anything, for those of you guys that don't know this, if it's called bourbon, it means it was put in a barrel that was never used before. It's brand new. How often are they new barrels versus bourbon barrels or other kind of barrels?
At our distillery, we all use used barrels. So there was something in those barrels before. So either whiskey for us or French oak cognac are the two barrels that we use.
So it's whiskey or cognac?
We use the American oak and the French oak barrels at our distillery. Those are primarily what we use. So supremacy, what you had is just 3 months American oak only. So original Mundo, you'll see it's a combination of both barrels.
Do you guys put out the information on what barrels you're using?
At this moment in time, we don't, but people are asking that more and more. So I would say over time, I would anticipate most tequila brands having somewhere on their label, and a lot of brands are already doing this, the production methods. So you're going to see whether it's oven cooked or autoclave, what type of water source, what region that it's grown for. So a lot of brands are starting to put a lot of that info. A lot more people are becoming educated about tequila, and they want to know all those things. So
that's very similar to the bourbon thing, because whether the char level, how long it's aged, they are kind of increasingly being pressured to talk about what that is.
People want to know. People are becoming more educated, especially in the tequila world. Like I'm talking to these guys and asking about the additive-free movement. There's a lot of brands out there that put additive sweeteners in their tequilas. Both of our brands do not have any additives in them, so they're all traditionally made and additive-free. I was talking to them a little bit. They're asking about why tequila has so many rules and whatnot. So on every bottle, you'll typically see the word CRT.